The morning rush at Maggie's diner was like any other in the small town of Clearwater. Plates clattered, coffee machines hissed, and the warm scent of buttered pancakes filled the air. But for Emma Brooks, the 22-year-old waitress with tired eyes and a kind smile, each morning wasn't just another shift, it was survival. Her life had been hard since her father died in an accident 2 years earlier. He'd been a truck driver, a good man who believed in kindness, who taught Emma that dignity wasn't about money, but about how you treated others. After his passing, she dropped out of college and took double shifts at the diner to pay the bills and care for her little brother, Tommy, who was only 8. She wore the same faded uniform every day, her sneakers torn at the edges, but her spirit, despite everything, had not broken. Until that day. It started like any other Tuesday. The diner was half full. Truckers, old locals, a few tourists on their way to the lake. Emma moved from table to table, balancing trays and smiling politely, even when her legs trembled from exhaustion. That's when the door swung open, the bell above it jingling sharply. 3 men walked in, local cops, all in uniform. Officer Riley, a tall, broad man with a smug grin, led them. He wasn't just any cop. Everyone in town knew he liked to throw his weight around. The kind of man who thought his badge gave him power over everyone, especially women. They took a booth near the window. Emma stiffened. She'd served them before. They never tipped, and their jokes always made her uncomfortable. But she needed the job. She couldn't risk angering her boss, Mr. Harlan, who already warned her about causing trouble with customers. So, she approached their table with her notepad and forced a smile. "Good morning, officers. What can I get for you?" Riley leaned back, eyes tracing her in a way that made her skin crawl. "Well, sweetheart, how about you start with a smile that's real, huh?" He smirked. His buddies laughed. Emma swallowed her discomfort. "Coffee?" she asked quietly. "Yeah, 3 cups. Make it strong. We've had a long night," one of the others said, his tone mocking. She turned to leave, but Riley grabbed her wrist, not hard, but enough to stop her. "You know, Emma," he said, his voice low, "I heard your brother's been skipping school. That's against the law, isn't it? Maybe we should look into that." Emma froze. "He's been sick," she whispered. Riley smirked, releasing her wrist. "Sure, sweetheart, just saying, you wouldn't want child services involved, right?" Her heart pounded. She didn't reply. She just walked away, blinking back tears. At the counter, she poured their coffee, her hands trembling slightly. She felt everyone's eyes on her. The other customers had noticed, but no one said a word. They never did. Riley and his men had too much power in this small town. As she approached their table again, the door opened once more. A man walked in with a calm, quiet confidence. He wasn't in uniform, but something about his posture, his gaze, sharp, controlled, hinted at a life of discipline. Beside him trotted a large Belgian Malinois, his fur sleek, his eyes alert but gentle. The man wore a simple dark jacket, jeans, and boots dusty from travel. He looked around, assessing the room in a second, the cops, the waitress, the tension. He took a seat at the counter. Emma delivered the coffee to the officers, avoiding Riley's stare. But as she turned, Riley suddenly reached for the mug again. "Hey, this coffee's too hot," he said loudly, glaring at her. "I'm sorry, sir, I can bring you." Before she could finish, he smirked, and tipped the mug, pouring hot coffee across her hand and onto her apron. She gasped, stumbling backward, pain shooting up her arm as the burning liquid soaked through her clothes. The diner went silent. Riley laughed. "Guess you should be more careful, sweetheart." Her eyes filled with tears. The burn stung badly, but what hurt more was the humiliation. People looked away, pretending not to see. The man at the counter, the one with the dog, set down his coffee calmly. "Sir," he said, his voice steady but edged with steel, "you just poured boiling coffee on that girl." Riley turned, scowling. "Mind your business, buddy. Law enforcement's handling a problem here." The man didn't move. "The only problem I see," he said, rising slowly, "is 3 grown men bullying a young woman because they think no one will stop them." The diner air thickened. The dog beside him stood too, muscles tense but controlled. Who the hell are you? Riley snapped. The stranger stepped closer. Name's Logan Ward, he said evenly. Retired Navy SEAL. And that, he nodded toward the dog, is Rex. He's trained to protect people who can't protect themselves. One of the other officers laughed nervously. Oh yeah, what are you gonna do, hero? Sick your dog on us. Logan's eyes didn't leave Riley. I don't need to, but if I see you touch her again, you'll wish you hadn't. Riley sneered. Big talk from a washed-up soldier. The next moment was so fast, no one even saw it happen. Riley reached out as if to shove Logan. But in a blur, Logan stepped aside, twisted Riley's arm, and pressed him face down on the counter with effortless precision. The diner gasped. Riley's gun clattered to the floor. Don't. Logan warned the other two officers, his voice like ice. You pull that trigger, and this goes from stupid to career-ending real fast. Rex growled low, his eyes fixed on them, protective, not wild. The other officers froze, hands half raised. Now, Logan continued, leaning closer to Riley's ear, you're going to apologize to her. Get off me, Riley growled, red-faced. Apologize, Logan repeated. I'm sorry, Riley spat through clenched teeth. Emma stood still, shaking, tears streaming silently down her cheeks. No one had ever stood up for her like that before. Logan released Riley and stepped back. You're lucky I still respect the uniform, he said. But if I hear you've done this to anyone else, I won't be so polite. Riley scrambled to his feet, glaring, humiliated. He grabbed his partners. We're leaving. As they stormed out, the diner erupted in whispers. Emma turned to Logan, still trembling. You didn't have to do that, she whispered. I did, he said simply. Because no one else did. He picked up a napkin, gently handed it to her for her burned hand. You should get that checked. Burns can be tricky. Her lips quivered. Thank you. I didn't think anyone would help. Logan gave a small, reassuring smile. Then it's about time someone did. Over the next few days, word spread across town. The story of the Navy SEAL who stood up to the corrupt cops became the talk of Clearwater. Some said he was reckless, others called him a hero. But for Emma, he was both, brave enough to care when others didn't. Mr. Harlan, the diner owner, was furious at first. You caused a scene, he told her. But when the townspeople started showing support, leaving bigger tips, even calling for Riley's suspension, his tone changed. Emma still worried. Riley was vengeful. Cops like him didn't just let things go. And she was right. A week later, she was closing up the diner after the night shift. The street outside was dark and quiet. She walked to the back alley, trash bag in hand, when headlights suddenly flared. A black SUV rolled up slowly, stopping just short of her. Her stomach dropped. She recognized the face behind the wheel, Riley. He stepped out, eyes glinting in the dim light. You embarrassed me, he hissed. Made me look weak. Please, I don't want any trouble, Emma said, stepping back. Riley smirked. Too late for that, but before he could take another step, a shadow moved from the darkness, and a low, commanding growl echoed through the alley. Rex. Logan stepped forward, calm but fierce. I thought I told you to stay away from her. Riley froze, startled. You following me now, hero? Logan shook his head. No, I was following her, because I knew cowards like you don't know when to quit. Riley's hand went to his holster, but Rex lunged forward, teeth bared, stopping inches away, his bark thunderous. Riley froze, terrified. Logan's voice was cold. If you ever go near her again, or her brother, I'll make sure every department within 50 miles hears what you did. And you'll be lucky to find work as a mall cop. Riley backed away, muttering curses, and drove off into the night. Emma stared, shaking. You followed me. I didn't want to, Logan said softly. But I saw how he looked when he left the diner. I've seen that kind of anger before. It doesn't go away unless someone stops it. Tears welled in her eyes. Why are you doing this? You don't even know me. Logan hesitated, looking away. I had a sister, he said quietly. She worked in a bar. Guys like him, they hurt her. And no one stopped them. I swore I'd never stand by again. Emma covered her mouth, her heart aching for him. Thank you, she whispered. I don't know how to repay you. Logan smiled faintly. You just did. You're safe. Days turned into weeks. Riley was suspended after a formal complaint reached the sheriff's office. Apparently, multiple witnesses had come forward after the diner incident. For the first time, Emma felt like maybe the world wasn't so cruel. Logan and Rex became familiar faces around town. He'd sit in the diner corner, reading a newspaper while Rex lay by his feet. Kids would stop to pet the dog. Emma would bring them coffee on the house. They didn't talk much about the past. They didn't need to. There was quiet understanding between them, two broken souls who'd found a strange kind of peace in each other's company. One afternoon, as the sun painted the sky gold, Logan came by again. But this time, he wasn't alone. He carried a small box. What's that? Emma asked, wiping her hands on her apron. He smiled. Rex and I are leaving soon. Got offered a job training service dogs for veterans. But before I go, he placed the box on the counter. Inside was a small silver necklace, a tiny pendant shaped like a dog paw. Emma gasped softly. It's beautiful. Logan nodded. For you. A reminder that courage isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just standing up when everyone else looks away. Tears filled her eyes. I'll never forget you. He smiled. That's all I need. Rex barked once, as if saying goodbye. Emma knelt, hugging the dog gently. Take care of him, okay? Rex wagged his tail. As Logan turned to leave, Emma called out, Logan. He stopped at the door. She smiled. A real one this time. You didn't just save me. You reminded me people like my dad, and you, still exist. Logan nodded, his eyes warm. And you reminded me that kindness is worth fighting for. He gave a final salute. Simple, respectful, and stepped into the fading light. Months later, Maggie's diner had changed. New management, new energy. The coffee was still too strong, the pancakes still too fluffy, but something else lingered, hope. Every morning, Emma wore that silver necklace. It caught the sunlight when she moved, glinting like a promise, that no matter how cruel the world became, there would always be someone willing to stand up for what's right. And sometimes, that someone came with a loyal dog by his side, and the heart of a Navy SEAL who refused to let injustice win.